So good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss about cloud computing. That is a CS8791 introduction to cloud computing. So in the first unit, what we are going to see is, so we are going to discuss about introduction to cloud computing, definition of cloud computing, evaluation of cloud computing, underlying principles of parallel and distributed computing, cloud characteristics, elasticity in cloud, and on-demand provisioning. So in this real world, we are going to have what is the importance of cloud computing and what are the different types of services we have cloud computing and different types of models we are going to use in cloud computing. So first, we will see what is cloud computing. So before cloud computing, in 1990s, after the development of internet, so we have dramatic changes in the usages of for how to share files, how to access files, and all. So before cloud computing, if you want to host a website, you need a bunch of resources for your company. Example, if you are going to host a website, you need a server, database, software, and some maintenance, something need to human resources to maintain that. So you and all need this. But in nowadays, if you want to have server, database, software, and experts to maintain all this, it is too costly to do this. If a small company, if you are doing, if they are opening a new company for their website, what how they will manage all these resources? They have to buy a new server, they have to buy a hardware, they have to buy software, they have to pay for the experts. So it is all not an easy thing for a small tier two or small based companies. So if you want to go for a better solution for this, so we have to go for a cloud computing. So cloud computing, it is after the development of this cloud computing, we can store our files or our informations in a centralized access and in a free of cost. We can share our data and we can share our informations from wherever we want. So this is the information we are going to have this in cloud computing. For that, what are the different kinds of services we are going to have and different types of models we are going to see. So cloud computing is a model for enabling convenient and on-demand network access to shared pool of configurable computing resources that can be rapidly provisioned and released with service provider interaction or minimal management effort. So it is a technique or model for enabling convenient and on-demand network access. So if anyone want to need their resources on time, they have to do a shared pool of configuring uh, computing resources. The end users need not to know about the details of specific technology while using applications as the service. It is completely managed by the cloud service providers. So in nowadays we have a lot of cloud service providers. Google is providing a lot of services, and Amazon and IBM, they are biggest cloud service providers in this real time. So on-demand service can be provided at any time. If customers wants any service, it has to be processed and it has to be serviced at proper time. So this is the main advantage of cloud computing. And cloud computing, what are the types of cloud computing? So we are going to divide our cloud computing into major two types. One is cloud deployment models and cloud services. Under cloud deployment models, we have three types of cloud deployment models. One is a public cloud, another one is a private cloud, and another one is hybrid cloud. So the second type is cloud services. So we have three types of cloud services. One is IaaS service, second one is PaaS service, and then one is software as a service, right? We are going to divide our cloud computing into three types. Based on this two only, our data which is stored in cloud computing are being processed in the internet. So in after the development of the internet, we don't need to store our files, and no need to take our files wherever we are going. So we no need to carry anything. We no need to carry any hard copies, any materials. So we can access our data from the cloud. That is some centralized access. So that is the biggest advantage of cloud computing. We are going to see what are the deployment models we have. We have three types of deployment models. One is public, another one is private, and another hybrid. So second is service models. In cloud computing, what are the major types of services they are providing? So we have three types of major services. It is infrastructure as a service. We have so many examples for that. And we have a platform as a service, and we have software as a service. So these are the three major services in cloud computing. So apart from that, there are a lot of services, but we have these main services. So proper example of cloud computing, it is the use of hardware and software to deliver a service over a network. So if any customers or any clients, they need the help of hardware and software parts, it can be delivered over a service. It can be delivered as a service. Other than that, we can be able to give us a service over the internet. So after the development of internet, after the 1990s, so cloud computing has been moved in 2000. So with cloud computing, user can access files and use applications from any device they can wear that can be accessed the internet. So an example of cloud computing is Google Gmail. So Gmail allows you to store 15 GB of data of free of size, free of cost. If you want to store more data about after 15 GB, you have to pay for that. So Google is providing you a free of storage service up to 15 GB for a particular user from a particular mail ID. So you can enjoy that 15 GB of data as a storage as a service as free of cost. So if you want to store more than data of that, you have to pay for that. So we have a Google example when it is Amazon Web Service, Azure, Google Cloud. We have a lot of real-time examples for cloud computing. So cloud computing lets you to store and access your applications or data over remote applications instead of your own computer. So we no need to carry our data as a hard copy. So why cloud computing is recent years, it is a more popular. As today's business increased on their data, and they can spend a huge amount of money to maintain this data. So if example, if any small companies opening a small entire industry, they cannot spend huge money for a server or infrastructure or a storage or experts. They cannot able to spend a huge amount on this. So they have to depend upon some other thing or some other tier one industries. So they must be to spend a lot of amount. So instead of that, if they use cloud computing, which allows you to store and process some types of services at free of cost, we can use that. So it requires a strong IT support and storage hub. For them, cloud computing is a cheaper solutions. So small time industries, they need a strong IT support, and storage hub is they need it is necessary. So if they use cloud computing, it is very cheaper solution for them. So cloud computing decreases the hardware and software demands from the user side. Excuse me. So benefits of cloud computing. So what are the benefits? Let's see what are the benefits of cloud computing. So pay per use model. So you have to pay what you are going to use. So you cannot able to pay more than that. So if you want to use some services, you have to pay for that. So it is 24/7 availability. So you can able to retrieve our data from wherever you want at any location at any time you can be able to retrieve. I can be able to retrieve at even at early morning 3 p.m. 2 p.m. I can be able to retrieve. Easily scalable. It is scalable. We'll see the main advantage of cloud computing is scalability. So we'll see what is scalability in future and future times. And security. More important topic is security. So our cloud data, the data what we are going to store in cloud computing in centralized access, it will be of security data. So no need to bother about security and easily manageable data. So you can be able to easily edit and easily download the data centralized access. So we will see types of services. So major deployment models. So what are the different types of deployment models? First is public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud. So the public cloud allows systems and services to be easily accessible to the general public. Public cloud may be less secure because of its openness. So we are seeing about different types of cloud computing. Our entire cloud computing is divided into two categories. One is cloud deployment models, and another one is cloud services. Under that cloud deployment models, what are the type of data? So cloud deployment models is the sense what type of data you are going to store, and services is that with that type of data, what type of services is cloud computing is offered to you, to the customers or users. That is the two ends of the cloud computing, right? So first, when public cloud, the public cloud allows systems and services to be easily accessible to the general public. So public cloud may be less secure because of its openness. Example, your Google and Facebook. So everyone can be able to access your Google, and everyone can be able to view the Facebook's other who is your friends, whatever the thing you are posting, you are sharing your information in social medias, it can be able to view and view by another person. So that is a full example of your public cloud. And Google provides you whatever the data you want. So if you are going to type any information in Google, it allows you to retrieve any type of information. So anyone can view that. Second type is public cloud. So the public cloud allows systems and services to be accessible within an organization. It is more secure because of its private nature. Example, if any software industries, software industries like TCS, CTS, they are maintaining their own data. If one client from one employee from one location, they want to share the information with another employee in another location, they are using that private cloud. So many software industries using like that type of data, which is can be accessed within an organization. So we have many educational websites and educational mail IDs and educational informations which can be accessed within an organization. So if any data which can be shared within an organization, that is called private. Other person belonging who does not belong to that private cloud cannot be able to access that data. So third is community cloud. The community cloud allows systems and services to be accessible by a group of organizations. So some certain amount of organization can access that data. It is also one of the type of private cloud, but group of organizations can share the data. But private cloud, the data can be shared within an organization. And fourth type is that is hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud is a mixture of public and private cloud, in which the critical activities are performed using private cloud, while the non-critical activities are performed by public cloud. We have two types of services. One is public cloud and private cloud. This combination is called hybrid. And in hybrid, we are going to have two types of data, which uses both cloud for data sharing. For data sharing, we are going to use public cloud, and private cloud is for research purpose. Example, NASA is biggest example of hybrid. They are using both private cloud and public cloud. So next is types of services. So types of services, we have three types of services, major three types of services. One is infrastructure service, platform service, and software as a service. So infrastructure service provides the fundamental resources such as physical machines, virtual storage, etc. So example, any small companies, if they want to start a new company, they cannot be able to implement or invest more amount in infrastructure as tier 1 industries or big companies are doing. So they cannot be at very starting stage itself, they cannot be able to invest so much amount in infrastructure. So the cloud service, it's providing you a biggest advantage of, they are providing you an infrastructure service as a physical machines. They lend you virtual machines, virtual storage. So virtuals in the sense it is purely serviced in online. There are major cloud service providers, as I said before, IBM, Amazon, and Google. They are the biggest example of cloud service providers. So they provide all types of services. Second, platform as a service. provides the entire runtime environment for applications, development, and tools. So these type of services which allows you environment for developing a software, and that type of services can be given to your user. So we cannot always depend upon a platform for a service. So this type of service give you to develop an environment. So you can be able to develop one type of environment. You can be able to develop some type of applications using this platform environment. Third one is software as a service, which allows you to use software applications as a service to the end users. Example, we are using Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, lot of softwares we are using in the internet-based applications. This is the biggest example of software as a service. So entire cloud computing is based on these two types. One is deployment models, another one is types of services, what they are going to use in cloud computing. So we have so many examples for that. We will see one by one. So what we are going to use in cloud computing is not a overnight development. So we have many histories for the developing of evaluation of cloud computing, right from start from mainframes. Mainframe computers in 1950s, after the rise of PCs in 1960s, client server architecture in 1990s, and after the development of internet, your host environment is get entirely changed in 2000. After the development of because the usages of internet, which evolves and services that is called beyond 2000, we have one type of service that is called cloud computing. So in 1990s, when the internet has been boomed, we have much minimum amount of data in the database. We don't need to have extra databases. We didn't think about the storage spaces, but consider what type of how much amount of data is stored now. So 1990s, we have very limited amount of data in the database, but now we cannot imagine that how much data you are going to store in cloud computing in recent years. So we cannot imagine that how much data has been stored in Google. But in 1990s, imagine that how much minimum amount of data will be in Google. But what is the importance of storage? So after day by day, there's a gradual increase in the internet. After 1990s, there rise a problem in future how we are going to store your data. So example, in 1990s, there will be few amount of data. In 2000, there is a much little more high data compared to 1990. But after there is a problem, how in future how we are going to store your data if there's a gradual increase like this. So there comes your cloud computing. So we are allowing your users to store their data in a centralized access that is called cloud computing, right? So we are enjoying the software and they're convenient nowadays. So next topic is underlying principles of parallel and distributed computing. For development of cloud computing, they have taken two main principles. One is parallel computing, another one is distributed computing. So these two main principles is behind your cloud computing. So what is parallel computing? Parallel computing is the type of computation in which many calculations or executions of process is carried out simultaneously. Whereas a distributed system is a system whose components are located on different network computers which communicate and coordinate their actions by passing messages to one another, right? That is parallel computing is a type of computation in which many calculations or executions of process is carried out simultaneously. Whereas a distributed system is a system whose components are located on different network computers which communicate and coordinate their actions by passing messages to one another. Say, biggest example of a distributed systems is our real-time ATM machines. So before ATM machines, if you want to take your amount from your account, you have to go to your bank and you have to stand in a queue and you have to fill a challan and you have to take money. But after the development of ATM, first, if so first case, if they have introduced ATM, there is only one drawback, that is you have to access your data from only that particular ATM. If I'm using Indian Bank, I have to go only Indian Bank ATM. I cannot use that Indian Bank ATM in other ATM machines. But after the development of distributed systems, all the systems is get connected, interconnected, all the data is get shared, and I can share our data from anywhere, and I can use any type of ATM machines. I can use Indian Bank card and I can use ASP ATM. Here what they are using is they're sharing your network databases to the other systems and get connected. So I can access Indian Bank ATM through the help of SBI Bank, and I can access our data. That is the distributed computing. So your entire cloud computing is based on these two actions. One is parallel computing, another one is distributed computing. Right? So this is the diagram. So these applications of parallel computing is, one is databases and data mining. Second one is real-time simulations of system, science and engineering, advanced graphic, augmented reality, and virtual reality. So your entire cloud computing is based on these two principles. One is parallel computing, another one is distributed computing. So types of parallel computing, we have three types of parallelism. One is bit level parallelism, instruction level parallelism, another one is task parallelism. And distributed computing is a collection of independent, physically and geographically separated computers that do not share physical memory or a clock. That is, our bank database alone is get shared. They are not physically connected. They are geographically separated systems. Each process has its own local memory. Process communicates using local and wide area networks. So this is the diagram. We'll see detailed. For distributed computing, they are physically, they are not sharing your processors and memory. They are geographically split. So main differences between parallel computing and distributed computing: many operations are performed simultaneously. System components located at different locations in distributed computing. Single computer is used in parallel computing. In distributed computing, multiple computers are used because it is geographically separated. Multiple processors perform operations, but in distributed computing, multiple computers perform multiple operations. Here multiple processors, here multiple computers perform multiple operations. It may have shared or distributed memory in parallel computing, but distributed computing is purely distributed memory. Processors communicate with each other through bus. Processors communicate with each other through message passing. So what are the cloud services? We have cloud characteristics: on-demand self-service, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, measured service, dynamic computer infrastructure, IT service-centric approach, minimally or self-managed platform, consumption-based billing, multi-tenancy, and managed metric. So these are the characters which behind your cloud computing. Right? We will see the characters.